It's milking time in the morning. Burr's got his breakfast hanging out of his mouth over there. These two about ready. And there's little bitty Malia. Come on, Leah. Come on, Leah. She's got a little routine. She's got to try to round the corner real fast to get away from her sister. Where does Leah go? Leah, where does Leah go? Where does Leah go? In her room. Good girl. Leah goes in her room. That's right. Good job. Good job, Leah. Sorry. Leah goes in her little room. She knows the drill every morning. And she gets some food to keep herself occupied until we are finished milking. Because otherwise she just creates total chaos. She's growing. Well, she's really just growing mine. She's not getting very tall. All right. You two, you know the drill, right? All right, let's go. And while I milk, Omelet waits for me to drop something for her. The others patiently wait to have something dropped for them. And there was one trying to sneak something out of the goat's bowl. And there's Thomas. And where's Buckets? Buckets. 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 Hello, Buckets. Bucks. Hello, darling. Hello. She's waiting her turn. Good girl. And this is the hilarious part. When she feels like she's been left in there too long, she gets herself up on the rail here and she sticks her little nose through and she complains. Now, I'm gonna let her out. And what she does, okay, all right, I'm gonna let you out. And she's like, woo, she don't waste no time getting up in here. Huh, little bitty. Yeah. She's my little bitty Leah, huh? Yeah. She, I don't think she's any bigger than her mama and auntie were when they came to us. She's not happy right now because her auntie likes some hay in there and she likes to eat the sweet feed rather than hay. Okay, today we're going to make goat's milk yogurt. And it doesn't taste like goat's milk or anything like that, or any different than regular yogurt. What you're going to need today to make the yogurt is 8 cups of goat's milk. And you can use regular cow's milk for this recipe. It will work the same. And it can be store-bought milk too. This just happens to be, I use raw goat's milk. That's just, we have it, so that's what we use. So you'll need 8 cups, and so I already measured 4 cups into my pot, and I measured out 4 more cups. You'll need a starter yogurt, and it does not have to be store-bought. You can keep 4 ounces from your previous batch each time. And I usually do, but this time somebody ate it down to the end without letting me know, so I did end up having to go buy yogurt to start it. But normally I keep 4 ounces from the previous batch to make the next batch. You need a 1/3 cup, which is, this is optional, of powdered milk. It just makes it a little thicker for a thicker yogurt, but so again, you don't have to have that. And if you like a sweet yogurt, then you can use like honey agave or maple syrup. The recipe actually calls for maple syrup, but what I'll do sometimes is I'll mix maple syrup and ginger, or use the honey agave, or just whatever I feel like using for sweetening that day. So you're going to use a 1/4 cup. Okay, so this is actually a 1/2 cup measuring cup because my 1/4 cup was otherwise being used. So I'm going to use part ginger syrup and part maple syrup because ginger is good for your digestion, along with yogurt being good for your digestive tract. So yummy. Alright, so all the ingredients except the milk are going to be set aside until we warm the milk up to 185 degrees, okay? And this part is very important because you're going to heat the milk up to 185 degrees. You don't want to overheat it because then you can kill the bacteria, or the bacteria that you need to grow anyway. So don't overheat it. And at the same time, don't underheat it, okay? So we want to make sure to heat it to 185. After we heat it to 185, and don't scorch it, so heat it slow. After we heat it to 185, then what we're going to do is we're going to let it cool down to 110 degrees. Once it's at 110 degrees, then we'll go ahead and add in our yogurt, our powdered milk, and our syrups, if we're adding syrups, okay? Then we'll pour them into the jars and put them in the dehydrator, but we'll get that. So you'll need either 4 quart jars for your yogurt, or you can put it in, or excuse me, 2 quart jars or 4 pint jars. Let me see if I can talk straight today. All right, so we're going to get that warmed up, and I usually kind of stir it consistently, or constantly, so that it doesn't scorch, and I keep an eye on it because you don't want to boil it. You just want to gently heat it, okay? So I'll let that heat up to 185 degrees, and then we'll come back. Okay, so it's getting really close now. We're at about 175 degrees, and once you get up to about 160 degrees, it starts to really go a lot faster, and so you have to really watch it close. Now once it hits 185 degrees, we're going to quickly remove it from the heat. You can take it and just set it aside on the stove and let it cool down to 110 degrees, which it takes a while to do that. Or you can put it in a bowl of ice, the pot itself, put it in a bowl of ice and stir it, but you have to watch it really closely then, because it could cool down too quickly and too much, and or rather cool down too much, not too quickly. So it's your choice. Keep an eye on it. Sometimes what I do is I'll take it and set it aside, but instead of just setting it aside on the stove or something, I take a cold towel that I had in the freezer and I lay it out on a glass part on my countertop and let it cool down that way. It just helps to cool down the bottom a little faster, because this has got one of the pot that I use has one of those thick bottoms, the copper bottoms, and so it holds the heat. So it just kind of helps it cool down a little quicker. Once it gets cooled down, we'll get back to you. Well, actually, I'll show you what I did here in a minute. I'll get back to you as soon as it's up to 185. We're really close now. It's almost 180 degrees. And I kind of moved the thermometer around too to make sure I'm getting a good reading in the center and in the middle. So we're getting close to 180 now. Okay, we are up to right about 182, 84. It's kind of, this thermometer, you can't really see where 85 is, but it's about 182, 184, so we're very close now. I'm going to let it go one more notch up. Make sure it's 184 and we will be good to go. And it is 180, about 184, 185 now. Okay, so go ahead and remove that. Turn it off, and we're going to take it over here. Excuse me. All right, now what I did, like I said, I have a towel here and it's got some ice in it, so it's going to help cool down that bottom a little quicker. And I have my items. I've been keeping them out at room temperature so they don't cool my stuff down too quickly. And I'll keep a thermometer in there so I can keep an eye on what's going on here. And we'll stir it to help cool it too. And this is going to say, like I said, this is going to take a while like this. But see, it's already dropped it down to about 170. So the ice on the bottom does pretty quick in this manner without dropping it too quick like it does if you just drop it into a bucket of ice or a bowl of ice. I just always like to be careful. I don't want to ruin it after I use, you know, 8 cups of milk that the girls worked hard for. So we'll let that cool down and we'll come back when it's about 110 degrees and finish from there. And it's already dropping down to getting towards 160 already. So you'll see that little bit of ice, and you can add a little bit more ice at a time if you want to kind of help keep it going a little quicker, but it's just better for me than just dumping it into, setting it in completely, submersing it into ice, I guess I should say. Oh, and now, if you notice, the mason jars are gone. And this is just another thing that I do. I don't want to drop it into, pour my yogurt that I've got at 110 degrees into a cold jar. So I go ahead and I put the jars in the dehydrator and let them warm up. I set it to 110 to 115 degrees, which is yogurt on my Excalibur dehydrator. So that way, like I said, the jars will already be warm to temperature and it won't drop below the temperature just because I poured them into the jars. I have my lids ready to go because you don't want to let it get too cold. So be ready to pour it into jars and have it ready to go into the dehydrator, okay? Okay, so we've got it down between 110 and 115. The directions say 110 degrees to take it down to, the original directions that I started making this with, and then it says to incubate it in the dehydrator at 115. So my guess is that anywhere between 110 and 115 is probably fine because that's the way I've been doing it for years now. Okay, so at this point we can add the powdered milk if you choose to use it. And like I said, just makes for a little bit thicker yogurt. If you like your yogurt thinner, kind of Greek style, then you won't need to do that. And pour in the yogurt, which I've had sitting at room temperature because I didn't want it to be ice cold and take my temperature too low. Okay. And then we're going to get the jars. Okay, so my jars are warm from being in the dehydrator. So I know my temperature is not going to drop too quickly. And I'm going ahead and adding in my syrup. And again, optional. You can use honey if you like. And I will tell you that using a third cup or a quarter cup of sweetener is not enough for my husband. He prefers a sweeter yogurt, but I just have them, they can add in agave or honey after the fact if that's what they want to do. Okay, so we will go ahead and pour this in. Let me get my funnel so I don't make a mess. And you want to make sure that it's good and dissolved before you do this, okay? And I got some bubbles on top. That's not a problem. Those bubbles will settle down. And these are not quite quart jars here. They're a little smaller. So I'll probably need another jar. Not a big deal. Now, like I said, my dehydrator is already on and running at 115 degrees. So it's not my yogurt is not going to cool down waiting on the dehydrator to warm up. Okay. And one last one. There we go. Whoa. Okay. So, I overfilled this jar here. So we're going to come over here. No, not really. Okay. So, good thing I had a towel there, huh? Because I made a mess. As you can see, not a professional at work here. Okay. Anyway, so now we have our 3 jars. Jars warmed, lids on, and we'll put these in the dehydrator. And these will stay in the dehydrator for 10 to 12 hours. Okay, so there we go. And then you can test it for thickness if you put a knife in after about 10 hours and check it and see the solidity if it's what you like. And we'll be back. Okay, when you put them in the dehydrator, again, set it to 115. The Excalibur actually has a little chart that shows you like yogurt, rising bread and whatnot, so you know where to put it. And then you're going to want to move it as little as possible. And when you set the jars in, kind of stagger them so that they're all receiving heat and the heat can circulate around them. Okay? I'm just going to put the lid on, and we are not going to disturb this for at least 10 hours. Sometimes I'll do this at night and let it, you know, go overnight and then take it out in the morning and refrigerate it, because once it's out, after the 10 hours or a little bit longer if that's what it takes, 12 hours, then you'll refrigerate it for 12 to 24 hours. So if I do it today, then I can refrigerate it overnight and it'll be ready for breakfast tomorrow. If I let it go overnight, then I'll refrigerate it all day and it'll be ready the next day. Okay? So we'll come back and check it in about 10 hours. Okay, so it's been about 10.5 hours since we made this morning. Let's see if I can get it open. There we go. And let's see. Yeah, it's definitely thickened. I can leave it in. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in a little bit longer. It'll make it a little more tangy, but yeah, it's definitely thickened up. It's got some loose on the top, but that's not a problem, because, you know, it's just like when you buy yogurt. You kind of mix it in. But I'm going to leave it in just a little bit longer, but it is good to go. And I should see that, but I'll go ahead and do that one more time just to make sure it was on the video. So you can see it's got some loose on top, but when you put the knife in, it's thick enough. It's yogurt. The longer you leave it in, the more twangy it'll get. So I'm going to leave it in just a little bit longer. Like one with a little bit of twang, but this is ready to go at 10.5 hours. Okay, and it'll vary by batch. It doesn't really determine. One time it'll be done at 10.5 hours, one time 10 hours, another time it might be 11 hours. So you just got to kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, I let it go for just a little while longer, and now I've decided that it is ready. And I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator overnight, and we'll give it a try in the morning. Okay, it is the moment of truth. Let me Move this back just a little bit. There we go. Moment of truth. Let's see. Well, if I can get the lid off, it might be the moment of truth. All right. Yeah, that yogurt. Whoops, sorry. Took it off screen there. That yogurt's nice and thick. Wouldn't you say? Let's get a spoon and check it out. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's nice and thick. Look at that. So, now, the next test, of course, will be taste. That's very scrumptious. Very good. Give it a try. It is so much better than store-bought. Super. Happy homesteading.